be the first Gator to take on Ashton Danley, who gets the call from Lonnie Alameda in team number 42 here in Tallahassee. The sophomore out of Winchester, Tennessee, has had a very nice sophomore campaign. Two-way player, bats some, and has been really strong in the. Take a look at Danley's scouting report.
One of the things, production, and Falby doing a good job setting the tone here.
And in steps the fantastic freshman, Taylor Shoemaker. No call there, ball one.
And look at how this changeup is going to come out of the hand of Danley, just going to spin and float through the zone. So tough to keep your weight back as it feels like the ball takes forever.
Off speed once again. Shoemaker works the walk on 5 pitches though, so it's a leadoff single for Falby. And Shoemaker on. 2-1 to Erickson. Erickson, who's also played some at first base this season. Pops this one up. Over the infield, Torres. Corby Otis will step in with the bases full of Gators. Plate here in this first inning. Off speed once again, 2-0. This is a Florida lineup that everybody in the order batting 300 at a minimum. And that includes me. Torres, Beecham, Kerr will bat third. Edenfield, Dak, Harp, Waycaser, Bueno, and Potter round things out at the bottom of Team 42's batting 9.
And Kerr, talk about heating up at the right time. It's a good time to get that momentum going and trying to keep it. Issa Torres doing a great job driving that one right in the 5-6 hole. Good effort by shortstop Holtorf. But Issa Torres heard us talking about Falby and said, all right, I'm going to do you one up. I'm going to do the same thing, and let's see.
Nothing to swing at there. And it's 3 balls and a strike to Janai Kerr as Keegan Rothrock tries to get settled into this game. Early difficulties for both starting pitchers. Kerr couldn't hold up. It's always fun for me, AP, watching Michaela Edenfield step into the batter's box. However much energy is in this place, it just becomes...
Again, just trying to chip away, know that, hey, it's still only the first inning. We've got time. Yeah, they might have put a couple of runs across the board, but we're still rolling, trying to find the groove.
And here's Katie Dak. Started her career in the SEC at Texas A&M. Last several years now, a member of Florida State's roster and having a resurgence. More from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Batted at the top of the order after she got off to a torrid start to her sophomore season. Down in the order a little bit. For her standards, hasn't been coming quite as easily of late at the plate. The batting average still looks great though at 445. 43 runs driven in, 8 home runs. Means so much.
They're so undeserving.
Called strike. Freshman out of St. John, Indiana, Comia. The 6th Gator signee.
So many teams and programs and coaches have extended towards Lonnie. Has been, I think, so encouraging for all of us, again, as just fans of softball and people that appreciate and love the game, knowing all that it's brought into our lives. Relationships, at the end of the day, are everything.
Strike 1. Slapping a single through the left side in the first inning. Was able to take an extra base as well. They won out on the board here for Ashton Danley. This one fisted into right field. Hallie Waycaser charges on to make a quality play. The last 5 teams to be the last team standing in Oklahoma City. This is the rundown. Oklahoma's on one heck of a run over the last 4 years. UCLA won it in 2019. The Seminole,
added to that a little bit, but I think the hardest part, and I think the thing that coaches become most proud of, is the repeatability and the consistency of their success. It's one thing to have a great season one time, but it's another thing to be sitting in the top 10, top 5 pretty consistently throughout the years, and that to me is the most respectable aspect of that.
and called on the field, retire Annie Potter. For the moment it's being scored, the Potter is out on a sac bunt that advanced Waycaser to third.
I think the thing too is watching a player like Issa Torres is you just see that she's having fun out there. So when you talk about joy, you talk about enjoyment and how much they love being on the field competing. It's such a privilege to be in moments like this.
Swung 5 for each of their respective staffs. Ball and a strike to Jocelyn Erickson. Ashton Danley will navigate right through the heart of Florida's order, and that was a nasty off-speed pitch.
Right now that changeup is looking like one of Danley's best pitches this evening. Keeping it simple and passing the bat. Sometimes we tend to overswing when we're in the box and trying to keep that short approach against pitchers.
Corby Otis, that's top 10 in terms of active Division I. Out in front, Danley goes to first with it to retire Otis. That will move Walsh to second.
Ashton Danley with a little PFP here. Otis going to be out front of that, hitting it off the
Hot corner. There's been some miscues, but she has been really solid on the hot corner.
And Coach Walton talks about her defense, and he's like, hey, I've worked with some really elite defensive players. Some have come through my program, some I've gotten to work with through USA, and she's one of the best.
That's a hard hit ball to the hot corner, and Jason Beecham is no slouch over there either. She retires Kenley Cahalan at first. Rock.
Well, you know what I'm doing if I'm Michaela Enfield is taking a pitch right here.
Yeah.
Let's see if Enfield can try to work Rothrock deeper into a count. There's just small components of the game that you just have to do sometimes, and that's one of them when you've got somebody going with so much depth. And we don't say that lightly. These are our 4 arms with legit numbers in the circle getting the job done. You see the ERA just under 2.5 collectively coming in at 2.15 there, but your highest with Widra. But getting the job done, and so much consistency, a lot of equality too with innings thrown, I think, is what's crazy in my opinion.
There were some butterflies in the first couple of innings for both Rothrock and for Danley, and whether it was Rothrock going 1-2-3 through the bottom of the third, or Danley who worked relatively efficiently in the top and getting that first out here, that they have settled into this matchup now.
Well, definitely settled in, and we talked about momentum and how important it is for both sides. You had Ashton Danley that got herself out of a big bases loaded J.
Sense. 1-2. Danley looking for her first 1-2-3 inning of this ball game. A strikeout would be number 4.
Hitter. That's not, in my opinion, a pitch that she's getting called against a right-handed batter. And so establishing that inside corner against somebody like Falby is going to be huge for Danley the rest of the night.
That one slapped foul, and there was that same location first, and secures out number 3. The sophomore finds a way to retire Falby and to maintain a 3-run lead at home. I mentioned earlier that Florida, everybody is batting north of 300. Look at Florida State, save for Hallie Waycaser, who is slacking at 297. Everybody else is batting north of 300 as well. You've got a lot of people here who can make a big impact.
Well, and you're always playing for one swing, and that's the reality. And that pitch.
And now I stand corrected, because with that, she is batting north of 300 at 304.
It was that last at bat.
Nothing to swing at yet here for Waycaser, who, by the way, 200th career game today for Florida State. Winding down the career, but hit that ball.
There's not many better role models that I can think of than somebody like Amanda Lorenz, and the career that she had, the person that she is, and still playing as well. So just trying to keep that going. But it's been so fun to watch the evolution of the sport, the evolution of the role models. And, you know, people like me had role models that obviously now are coaching across the board, and it's fun to see what they're doing in their career. It's fun to see people like Shoemaker out there on the field having former players.
Here for Florida. Now it's Jocelyn Erickson stepping in. And I mentioned earlier that Erickson has split time between catching and first base. You go back to her time at Oklahoma, where she also played some in right field. Should be the DP because, you know, and it's a quick conversation. Danley's outing has come to a close, and Annabelle Widra, the Auburn transfer, gets the call.
Have that off-speed pitch, but she's going to mix in the rise ball really effectively. So we talk about changing planes of the hitters and trying to just mix it up a little bit. So good compliment to one another.
And on 3 pitches, she retires Reagan Walsh. What a start to this relief outing for Annabelle Widra so far.
Huge response for Widra.
Checking in to pinch hit here for Angelie Bueno. And Ross herself had a tremendous 2024. And after a couple of years where she predominantly pinch ran, really exploded at the plate for Florida State. Played in every single game for the Noles, earned a start in every one of them, hit 322, 8 home runs, 7 triples. And she's north of. Carter transferred into Florida State from Mercer, where she was on the All-SoCon. Tremendous play by Florida.
Need a lane to the bag, and so I don't know that she should be awarded it. However, umpire called it immediately.
Jose Chaparro stationed at third. And as we suspected, Amaya Ross is out. And so you tip the cap to Mia Williams. After that ball squirted in between Reagan Walsh's legs, was able to make the flip for the force at first, and then Walsh.
From Annabelle Widra right now from the circle is pitch efficiency and trying to attack these hitters early in their at-bats. Ashton Danley started the game, get behind a little bit more in counts, obviously settled in very nicely and made that adjustment quickly. But Widra, I want to see her do it.
Florida State's DP this afternoon. To keep this thing going in the Sunshine Showdown. As we take a look at the RPI top 10, the Gators check in as the #1 RPI team in the country. Florida State checks in at number 6. So what an opportunity for these two teams today, and for Florida State specifically, who, if you want to call the top 25 RPI teams quad 1, if you will, this would be a 7th quad 1 win for Florida State. Shoemaker popped up and secured. Florida State beats the second-ranked Gators 4-0. What a performance by the 10th-ranked team in the country.
Florida State looked